Hey guys, I wanted to quickly share about a cool way you can support the show. Travel content creating and podcasting is so fun. But as you travel lovers know, traveling can get expensive. While I may receive trades from time to time, the flights, the behind the scenes hours filming, editing, recording, and sharing are often unseen and unpaid. There is this super cool website called buymeacoffee.com that was created specifically as a way to support creators like me. Buying Me a Coffee is a quick and simple way to show your support for the Trip Tales podcast. And Lord knows this busy Mama 3 could use a coffee to keep me recording and sharing, and maybe help with the grocery bill as well. I'll also give a special shout out by name to anyone who buys me a coffee in the following week's episode. So if you love Trip Tales, I'll put the link in the show notes, or you can get there by visiting buymeacoffee.com/Kelsey Graves. Thank you for considering supporting the show. Welcome to the Trip Tales podcast with me, Kelsey Graves. Let's jump into a new episode exploring a vacation destination that you'll want all the details about. Hey everyone, welcome to episode 9 of Trip Tales. Today's episode is going to be pure fun because we are talking everything you need to know about Disney cruises. Before we jump in with today's guest, I did have to thank last week's Buy Me a Coffee supporter, who was none other than my dad. So imagine me, I get my buymeacoffee.com site all set up. I record my intro explaining it. Keep in mind, I've never mentioned anything about this to my parents. I'm not even sure my mom has listened to one episode yet. And then I get an email notification that says, Papa D bought you a coffee. Papa D is what my kids call my dad, their grandpa. And his comment with his purchase said, "Good episode about the Conrad." So straightforward and such like a dad comment. Which, if you haven't listened to the episode about the new Conrad Orlando within the Evermore Resort, which is situated around like an 8-acre crystal clear lagoon that makes it look like you are beachfront and not in Orlando, you have to check out episode 6. But anyways, thanks, Dad, for buying me a coffee. I mean, dads are just the best. Okay, now on to today's episode, where we are going to discuss everything you need to know about Disney cruises with my guest, Erin, who has been on 7 Disney cruises. So welcome, Erin. Thank you so much for being here.
Hi, I'm so excited. I told you yesterday, like, as I was just thinking about today, I'm like already getting teary-eyed and so excited.
I know.
How much we love them. Yeah.
We cannot wait to pick your brain. Erin is actually family to me, kind of. Erin is first cousins with my husband. So my husband, Joe, and Erin grew up together as cousins in Tennessee. And now I get to be like friend cousins with Erin.
Right. It's the best part.
Yes. So thankful for you. So let's start with a rapid fire get to know you. Tell everyone where you're from, about your family, and what you do.
Yeah, absolutely. Hi, thank you so much for having me, Kelsey. I'm so excited. So I'm Erin. My family, I was born and raised in Tennessee, little bits just kind of here and there in the same area for the most part. My parents, I have an older brother, but I am married now. And we have 2 teenagers, 2 big old kiddos, a 17-year-old daughter named Aubrey and a 16-year-old son named Brody. We have 3 dogs we are crazy about. We have a zoo crew here and 2 cats. We love being at home. We love the water, whether it's the ocean or the lake. We just love the water. We love being at home, but we also love vacationing and traveling. So it's fun. We're excited.
Awesome. So like I said, Erin and her family have been on 7 Disney cruises, which is why she is the perfect person to tell us everything we need to know. And I have to admit, as a travel lover and as a Disney lover, honestly, we have still never been on a Disney cruise, but we think about it all the time. So I have literally 1 million questions for you.
I'm so excited. I know. All I keep thinking is like, I cannot wait for her to get off the episode and then go book a Disney cruise because I just want you to so bad. It's so much fun.
The tab is already pulled up, just so you know. It's like waiting.
It's there. Oh, I love that.
I have been on one cruise in my life. It was Royal Caribbean when I was like 11 or 12. That's the extent of my cruising experience. So
Yeah.
I definitely have a lot to learn. But before we get into my 1 million questions, let's
Yep.
go back to the beginning and hear about your very first Disney cruise. I'm sure some things have changed on the ships since then, but
Yep.
since that was the first one and it must have been great because you keep booking them, let us
Right.
know about your first cruise, Disney cruise.
Oh, it was the quintessential experience. So I will preface everything by saying I am completely biased. Disney is the only cruising we've ever done. And there's a reason we haven't tiptoed anywhere else. We have friends that have talked about it and we're like, that's great. I'm glad you love it there. And we'll stick with what we love. So I will say that we just are just like you, we love Disney, period. And Disney cruising is just totally for us. So our first experience was absolutely precious. It kind of has like a little bit of a sad beginning. My mother-in-law's second husband passed away on Christmas Day, almost 9 years ago.
I'm sorry.
And I know. And so that day just took a little bit of a turn. So we were like, let's just postpone Christmas. And we did about a week. So we get together, and my mother-in-law has always been so really, really intentional about gifting us with experiences and not just stuff. And so we start opening all these folders. She gave everyone a watch first, and she was like, I'm gifting you with time. And so like she did this play on quality time. And then we start opening these folders and realize she is gifting us with a Disney cruise for all of us to go together.
I just got chills.
At the time, my sister-in-law only had 3 little kids. Now they have 4. So at the time, there were just 10 of us. Yet she gifted all of us to go on a Disney cruise. And bear in mind, cruising had never been on my radar because I do get motion sick. So I was always a little bit timid about doing it. And we just never pulled the trigger. So I was like, okay, well, ready or not, we're doing it. And I'll do a little shameless plug later for like my secret to cruising. That's like a great backup if you do get motion sick. If that's ever been something that's held anybody back from cruising, I have a foolproof remedy. Yet she gifted us with it. She gifted us with a 3-night Caribbean cruise. So it was the perfect way to tiptoe into the process, never having cruised before. We boarded the ship on a Saturday morning and we debarked on a Monday morning, and it was perfect. We did stay the night before, so we just kind of got our feet under us, and we did not know what we didn't know. I remember asking a few people that I thought had been before, like, do you have any suggestions? And we just kind of went in blind. And I will tell you, even if you do like one end of the spectrum to the other, go in blind, knowing nothing, it's Disney. They take care of everything. And that's the other reason I think we love it. They all but tuck you in at night. And so we went in knowing nothing, having little kiddos. I think Aubrey was 8. She's the oldest grandchild. And then our youngest was not even 2. Like the youngest grandchild was not even 2 at the time. So we started out on the Disney Fantasy. We went for the 3-night where it was only one stop at Castaway, and it was bliss, like just bliss. So even with 10 people going all over the place, ages all over the place, not knowing anything, it was enough for us to book our second cruise on that cruise. And we went, so that cruise was in June. We went the following December.
I love it. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's get into like all the details. So I know there are a handful of different ports, because whenever I look at the website, they're all over the world. And then in the US, it looks like, or close to us, Fort Lauderdale and Port Canaveral. So the people I've talked to all go out of Port Canaveral. Is that what you do?
It is. Yep. It's what we've always done. Merely
is that
out
like
of
the
convenience.
Main one?
I think it's probably the most popular.
Okay.
Yeah. Just because Disney is there in Orlando, and it's so close. It is, I think like when I say it's a straight shot from the airport to the port, it is an actual straight shot. And I think it's like 33 minutes start to finish.
So do you typically stay a night before, or have you ever flown in and gone straight to your ship?
We've done both. We have. And both are totally feasible. In the beginning, we went and stayed the night before just because we were like, oh, boarding times, all of that. To your point from earlier, a lot has evolved since then, and it's not near the cattle herding process that it was in the beginning. So I could speak to it a tiny bit, but now it's just completely different. They are so methodical about, if this is your boarding time, that's when you're walking on the ship. You don't have to get there a moment sooner.
So they spread them out with different people, the boarding times?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. So, and we can talk about that too. Like if you want, when we do check-in or even however you get there, you do a quick check-in with documents. They give you your little bands and you are all but walking on the ship within 10 minutes.
Okay. Speaking of documents, do you need a passport and do kids need passports?
Yes and no. So there are a couple of trips that they offer. If you check in early enough, they will allow you to upload a state issued birth certificate as their travel document. I would always say err on the side of caution and just have your passports. Just have them, because it just, in my mind, takes away any of the gray area. However, there was, Paul, we went on one for my 40th birthday 2 years ago, and Paul checked us in super early. Our kids' passports were like 6 weeks away from expiring. So he has this thing where, whether it's at the parks or with cruises, he will call and be kind of like, we just need some Mickey magic. And they were like, well, never fret. Here's what you can do. So it's an option. I don't recommend it, just because in my mind, it's like, what if you just get the one person at check-in that's like, no.
Or I guess if something happened, and I mean, of course this would never happen, but if something happened where you then need to fly back, not on the Disney cruise, I don't know, there just could be issues.
We have been on a cruise where somebody had to be life flighted off of Castaway Cay. And it's just I'm not a fan of leaving much to chance on a cruise ship. It's possible because, yes, you can't just hop in the car and run to Target for something. So, yes, I would say err on the side of caution. Just have them. We just last week went and updated our kids for a 10-year now that Brody's 16. And so I say go for it. And it's not always with just the 3-night Castaway stop. Yeah, they would allow it. Just
so you could dip your toe into Disney cruising by doing Castaway.
Yep.
Yeah, my kids don't have passports yet because we still haven't taken a big out of the country trip, but I'm putting it on my bucket list this summer, even though we have nothing booked out of the country, to just do it, because it takes so long and it's so much work.
For sure.
Little kids' passports, but I'm like, let's just do it this summer so that when we do get a wild hair and book a Disney cruise, we're good to go.
Not if, when. Yes, I love that.
Okay, so when you do stay a night before because you want just to have your ducks in a row and you want to make sure you're there, do you have a specific place you prefer to stay that you just kind of keep going back to?
We don't. We have done everything from the Marriott there at the Orlando airport, because we've had a late night flight after a cheer competition, to a Holiday Inn Express right there by Port Canaveral. Everything, again, just because you are in Orlando, everything is buttoned up. Everything is catered to families. Everything, when I say everything, slightly loose, but you know what I mean. It's Orlando. They know what everybody is there for. So no matter where you stay, we have never one single time had a bad experience. Staying the night before, especially on your first cruise, is just going to help you probably feel prepared. Do we have all the things, all the ducks in a row? Get there with, flight delays. It happens. We've all experienced it. And so it's a better safe than sorry, especially for your first one.
Yeah. So that's good advice. Just kind of get on and book something that's in the area that makes sense for you and just have that done.
Totally.
Okay, so
totally.
The day of arrival. So I'm assuming, do you use the Disney app like we all use for the parks, or is there a different app?
There's a cruise app.
Okay, a different app.
A game changer. Oh my goodness, it's the best. We had it on our very first one. However, it was basically just on board chatting is kind of where it was at that point. Now it's oh gosh, we're on my phone, but I would show you. Now it has it's got a countdown. So when you put in your reservation and everything, you can open it up look at your countdown to the cruise, but it's everything.
So you've got the app. It tells you what time your boarding time is. You head over. Do you guys just, I'm assuming you like Uber to the hotel and Uber over to the boat?
Yeah, you can. We have rented a car because I do get motion sick. And so usually we rent and we just park there. It's not ridiculous as far as cost. However, if you can,
so there
Uber,
is parking for people that drive down to Orlando as well.
That's correct. Okay. Yep. They've got their own little parking garage, super easy peasy. Everything's covered. Everything's easy to navigate. It's an actual sidewalk, walk over to check in your baggage and all of that. So typically we rent. However, we, 2 different times we've done the cruise shuttles from the airport. And it's super, super cute. They do, it's big buses and they've got, like they're wrapped in all the Disney cruise cuteness. And it's super easy. They show you a little video while you ride. So there's definitely options for
so if you
doing something like that.
If you show up same day, you can take a shuttle over to the cruise. Perfect.
Yep. And going the day before or staying off site and you drive yourself over or Uber over it from the second you kind of come up over the hill on the interstate and you start seeing the port with all the ships and you start getting tears in your eyes and all the things. It's so exciting. They have it mapped out beautifully, arrows pointing you exactly where to go, exactly where to park, pull straight up. And then the luggage attendants literally like roll the red carpet out from the second you step out of your transportation.
Okay. So it's magical. You show up. Tell us about once you've already checked in, you've done all the things, you've shown the documents and you're walking onto the ship. What is that experience like? Do you walk right into the grand area? What do you guys typically do? Are you going straight to your room? Are you exploring? What are you doing with your luggage? All that.
Right. So the second that you get out of your transportation, they take all of your luggage for you. They are going to mail you. It's kind of like when you go to Disney and you get all of your stuff a few weeks ahead of time, they are going to mail you your luggage tags. They're going to be colored. They're going to be barcoded. They are going to have names and everything on them. So you will have tags on your luggage. And they will take everything from you and deliver it to your stateroom.
Amazing. So you're not even hauling that through. You're just like, we're on the boat.
And here we are. We are so, so important. Here's our luggage and you just take care of us. So that is a no-brainer. We take a carry-on. And then from that point, the second, like you said, you walk into the grand ballroom, you see the chandeliers, you see all the pomp and circumstance. But before that, there are 2 Disney cruise members standing at the little gateway. They ask you what your family's name is, and then they announce you in the microphone over the whole thing. It's like, Disney Cruise, please welcome the Teller family. And it is just the actual fairy tale. It is from the second you step on.
I just got chills and I'm like picturing my littles hearing that. And I'm like, oh my gosh, we've got to book this.
They wouldn't even know what to do. Yes,
are there like characters dancing and singing and all the things?
Yep. When you walk in, you'll see them like on the balconies. People are going to be lined up. So you asked about do you go straight to your room? So you cannot get in your stateroom until 1:30 that day. So boarding times start about 10:30 and you can go on, and other than go into your room, you have free reign of the ship. You can go straight on and grab an early lunch. You can get chairs. You can go to the pool. You can start enjoying vacation the second you walk on. But that's also part of the reason that they take your luggage, because, they had a load of people that just came off that morning. So they are still getting staterooms cleaned and all of that. Everything will be kind of taped off. So it's not really even an option to sneak in there. Like, is our room ready? Until 1:30. However, they will notify you and you'll be able to get in just the second that they have it all buttoned up. So typically we have just like a little carry-on now that we take. We dress everybody mostly in swimsuit, footwear that is comfy, but also can get wet. And then just like a little cover up or a hat or something like that. Depending on how you're traveling, if you're driving or flying, just a little pool bag is what I recommend, or a backpack. You do not, really and truly, you don't need to carry everything for the rest of the day on your person. You will see the occasional poor soul rolling a suitcase around by the pools and stuff. And you're like, oh, buddy. Yet really all you need is just some sunscreen and just like things for, we would call it just like a quick pool afternoon, because you're going to have access to your stuff pretty quickly.
Okay, fun. So you guys kind of just like hit up the pools, get situated,
Yep.
have some fun until you get that
Yes.
notification that your room's ready.
That's right. Yeah. You can roam around the ship. You can get your bearings. Your app will have floor layouts and everything. So you can really just kind of like give yourself an orientation or dive all in and hop in the line for the slide.
Okay, awesome. And before we talk more about like rooms and specifics, just kind of an overview. I saw that maybe there's like 6 ships now. I saw on the website Magic, Wonder, Dream, Fantasy, Wish, and Treasure.
Yeah.
We don't have to go through all of these because I'm sure they're all amazing and have their different kind of sweet things about them, and people can look them up themselves. But is there like, what are the main differences between the ships? Is it just like theming? And then do you guys have one that you're like, that one is the best?
Yes. So the Disney Treasure is brand spanking new. It opens this year. So we have not been on it. It is going to be a sister ship to the Wish. The Disney Dream and the Disney Fantasy are sister ships. So the layout is almost identical, just a few small differences, like little gift shops here and there. However, they are pretty much similar. They go out of Port Canaveral. And then the Magic goes out of some of like the Texas ports and things like that. It's a little bit smaller. So we've never done one of those ports. So we have not been on the Magic. We have been on the Fantasy, the Dream, and the Wish. The Wonder is smaller. However, it does more of the transatlantic cruises. So we haven't done any of the longer ones yet. We hope to when the kids are older, because it's going to be a time commitment and an investment. Yet we have been on the Fantasy, the Dream, and the Wish. The Wish is fairly new. It's only been open for 2 years, and we love it. We love the Dream and the Fantasy layout for the most part. They are both very, very easy to navigate. The Wish, and we're hearing a lot of the way we feel about the Wish is what a lot of people say. It's pretty choppy. However, it is the kids area, the older kids area, and the little kids areas are to die for. Now they're all Disney. They are all so precious and so magical and so wonderful. However, the Wish, the older kid teen area is definitely kicked up a notch, and it is really, really fantastic. So because I have teenagers and that's where our son stays, I mean, we don't see him for almost 12 hours and he just lives on the basketball court or whatever. So the layout with the Dream and the Fantasy are super, super, super easy to navigate. However, the Wish, I think we like a little bit better just because of the teen clubs and things like that.
Okay. Sounds like you can't go wrong. So that's good.
You cannot. Yes, you cannot.
Okay. So you're on the ship, whichever one you choose. You get the notification that your room's ready. How do you all do rooms as a family of 4? Do you book 1? Do you book 2 connecting? Like, what have you done and what seems to work the best for you?
Yeah. So we have done the deluxe family with veranda and the family stateroom with veranda.
And veranda means balcony?
Balcony.
Okay.
Yep. So there are interior rooms with no windows whatsoever. There are.
That feels a little claustrophobic. I know they're cheaper, so that's a good option for some people.
Right. Oh, totally. And you're not in your room at all, just to sleep. And then there's even a room called an obstructed view. It's like the porthole where basically you're looking out at the lifeboat. So there are options. However, we have done the ones with veranda that's, yes, a balcony. It has 2 chairs and a little table, room to breathe.
Okay, let's pause right there, because I was talking to Joe last night about this, and because we'll get to this later too. I'm going to ask you some tips for convincing non-cruisers how to get them over the hump. So I'm like, oh, balconies. He goes, there are balconies on cruise ships. And I said, yeah, it's like the best part. And he's like, was like horrified with like the danger of it. So I'm like, he's like, there's balconies hanging off the edge over the ocean. And so do they seem pretty safe? Is the railing really high? Like, tell us about
the railing. Yes, the balcony feels totally safe. I would say it's about the size, like if you've ever lived in an apartment, it's about the size of an apartment balcony. and it's not over the water. It is over the lower levels.
Okay.
If that makes sense. So I know it feels like, are you kidding me? We have tiny little children and we're just going to let them, like hang out on the balcony. It is super duper safe. The doors have locks and all those things. But the balcony, I would say the railing is probably close to 3.5 feet, maybe even 4. So it's very safe. I am, again, like with the motion sickness and looking out on the balcony while we are at sea, I have never one single time felt unsafe.
Okay. Awesome. Good to know. Okay. So balconies are safe and it's a way to like have a view and have some breathing room. And then tell us about the rooms that you guys prefer.
So the deluxe family we have done once when my mother-in-law has stayed in the same room as us because it sleeps 5. Okay. So it's going to, and then the family stateroom sleeps 4. It has a queen size bed and then 2 little kind of like bunk beds. Your stateroom host or hostess will fold them out for you at nighttime, but bunk beds. And again, I have teenagers. They're plenty long. They are enough. You're so tired at the end of the day that you're crashing no matter what, that they are plenty comfortable.
So are they kind of like folded up into the wall, almost like a Murphy bed, and then they come down?
That's right. That's right. Okay. The top one is that way. It comes out of the ceiling. And then the other one is the couch that folds out to the lower bunk.
Okay. And they do it for you at night if you...
They do. Yeah, you never have to do it. And the top bunk has a little railing that they put in and all of those things. So yeah, you never have to worry about putting them up or down. They do that for you. Same in the deluxe family stateroom that sleeps 5. It has an actual Murphy bed. In addition to those 2 bunks, it has a Murphy bed that comes out right next to the door leading out to the veranda.
So in that one that sleeps 5 though, are y'all kind of like, you're all still sleeping in the same room? It is like, let's get cozy. Okay.
Right. Now there is a super private curtain that divides the queen size bed from the bunks and that sort of stuff. But really, like, the TV is on a little swivel. Paul doesn't sleep at night hardly. So there are times that he'll just kind of like swivel the TV around the curtain and we'll use it more just to like block light or sound for the kiddos.
Yeah. Well, that's nice too, especially with littles who, when they see you, they can't fall asleep or they see what you're watching TV. So that does help to just kind of get them into sleeping mode.
Exactly. And the curtains are blackout curtains, the ones on the windows. It stays plenty dark. We are huge box fan people here. We sleep with them at home just for sound. That is something that I would highly recommend. We usually, we're super big dorks about it, but we usually use one of our checked bags as like a box fan is one of our checked bags.
Really?
Truly.
Can you do it as not in luggage? Can you just put a tag on it?
Yes. We just put the tag right across the top and they deliver it to your room every time. And if you don't want something bulky, I totally get that. I would just bring a sound, whether you sleep with one or not, usually I would bring a sound machine or a small fan, whether it's battery powered, clip on, box fan, whatever, just to drown out a little bit of the noise because the ship is lively until around 11 p.m. We are, even with big kids, we are early to bed folks. And, I just don't want to be a granny like, oh, it's so noisy. It definitely helps with that.
Okay. You said you're a cruise dork. So I have seen reels and TikToks and people posting about all these hacks for cruise rooms, like magnetic hooks, because like the walls are magnetic. So tell us like your top few room hacks that you're like, okay, you get in there and you get all organized with all your things. Right.
Yeah, I would definitely say pack light. You are going to wear so much less than you normally would. Your suitcases will slide beautifully right under your bed. It's lifted off the floor, so it'll go beautifully under the queen size bed. Yet I would pack as lightly as possible. And I usually take a big, just kind of some kind of cloth bag for dirty clothes. They have laundry on the ship, so I usually take a big bag for dirty clothes to go in, just because having them laying all over the place is just icky. I know you have an incredible travel toiletries bag. You can totally throw things like that. They do have great, even though the drawer space might be limited, they have tons of like shelving that has little rails on the shelving. So your bottles can go in there for sunscreen, all of that type of stuff. I would take chargers and all of that. As far as hacks go, they have plenty of hooks, plenty of ways. They've got hangers in there. I don't overdo it when it comes to that type of stuff. You can definitely bring hooks and things if just things you can't live without. However, for us, for the most part, they've got plenty of places for us to hang wet swimsuits and let them dry. I take, you want to take one beach bag, maybe something that you can either put luggage in and it could double as your laundry bag. But usually, and they have a small one in there. It's just by the time you get 2 people's clothes worth, it's full. So yeah, something like that hangs up easily. Otherwise, I may not be the best go-to for that.
I love
sorry.
That. We're going to link.
I mean, really, it's one of those that's like, I don't know that you even need it. You may not even need a hack just because they really do, I think, have everything that you would need.
Yes, Disney's so good about taking care of people.
I know.
I'll have you send me like the fan, the sound machine, small fan, stuff like that. Link in the show notes. And then there's one thing I recently saw on a beach that I was like, my mom actually went up to the people and was like, where did you get those? And she got the link and ordered them immediately. But it was these white beach chair clips. And so you do 2 on the back of each beach chair. And then as the kids are swimming, you can like hang towels or cover-ups or swimsuits and they blow in the wind like crazy, but don't blow away.
And it dries
they all dry. And so I feel like that would be good for the chairs on the balcony because then you could clip the swimsuits, and then they're like blowing in the wind, drying. So I'll link those clips as well because
that's such a good idea.
Beach trips in general.
Yeah. So maybe I will like retract I don't have any hacks. And this isn't so much a hack as it is just a tip. I definitely would take, a Yeti, a Stanley, a refillable cup at nighttime. My kids are huge water drinkers. So they have fountains, soda fountains, water fountains scattered everywhere. So you can keep them filled up throughout the day. But at nighttime, so that you're not grabbing the tiny little foam cups that they have with the drink machines, you can grab your big Yeti, fill it up with water at nighttime, have it for the kiddos throughout the night or whatever, or even during the day. You can fill it up with soda or water. They've got vitamin waters and things on the little fountain. So it would be worth an extra pack to throw a couple of your own cups in there.
Okay, let's stay on drinks and food while we're here. So our drinks, do you have to pay for them? Can you bring your Yeti and fill up anywhere? What is like the drink and food situation in terms of what you've already paid for and then what you have to pay for once you're there?
Yeah. So as far as food, everything is covered. Breakfast, lunch, dinner. The only food that you would pay extra for would be if you made a reservation at one of the adult only restaurants, then you pay for that. However, everything else is included. All non-alcoholic beverages from the fountains and at meals at the sit-down restaurant, those are all included.
Amazing.
I know. And self-serve ice cream. They have self-serve ice cream all over the ship, and that's free. And it's so much fun.
I love that it's free. You get on, it's like free-ish.
Isn't that a hoot? Yeah, Paul will say that sometimes too. He'll be like, right, yes, my free whatever.
That's Disney cruise girl math.
Truly. So alcoholic beverages, yes, you will pay for. However, I feel like that is a given. They do allow you to bring certain amounts on per person. So that's something that you can do too. And it's a measured amount, kind of the equivalent to like a bottle of wine per adult you can bring on with you. I mean, I've seen some people carry 6 packs and stuff. There are small refrigerators. It's just, I don't know. To me, it's kind of futile. Like by the time you go to the trouble of picking it up that morning and then carting it all the way on with you,
might
just
not
budget
even be worth
for it, maybe.
Yeah.
Right. However, they make it so easy. There are plenty of drink stations. There are plenty of bars. There are plenty of attendants. You can buy water packages that come with cute little coolers that you can reuse over and over. Same with beer packages and things like that. So you never, ever, ever have to worry about time slots. Something is always open. Something is always available. So
breakfast and lunch
make it super easy.
Is breakfast and lunch typically like a sit down thing? Is it a quick service thing? Like what does breakfast and lunch normally look like?
Yeah. So the breakfast is we're not big breakfast eaters. However, on the cruise, we love it because it's got the things that you just don't make at home, like bagels and lox. And, but it's buffet style, the breakfast is. Now, a couple of the ships, the newer ships, have incorporated like a sit down breakfast option. We just haven't done that because usually when we get ready for the day, we've got swimsuits on and stuff. And they don't frown upon you eating in swimsuits. We're just not a fan. Yeah. So the breakfast that's the easiest is, it's all buffet style.
And is it like one easy location you all go to, or are there multiple breakfast locations?
Yep. Okay. It's at the end of the ship, kind of like on the mid deck, and it's a buffet style that's in a U shape. So even though it's a U shape, the half of the U's, like one side is the exact same as the other. So let's say you started, with like pastries and then yogurt and then hot breakfast. And then even some of the newer ships have the most darling, tiny little kids counter for breakfast. So it's like they get to walk through their own little buffet and get their Mickey waffles at a counter that is like the tiniest, cutest little thing. Doesn't even seem possible. It's so adorable. Cute. So yeah, it's precious. You can eat indoors or you can even eat outdoors. And that's usually our go-to because it's like you are looking at just the beauty of wherever it is you might be, if you're at sea or even if you're at port. So you can eat inside or outside, you can sit by the pool, whatever. But breakfast is very, very easy. And even though everybody is in the same location, we get that question a lot. Like everybody's eating breakfast in the same place. It never, ever, ever feels overwhelming or crowded or any of that stuff. Awesome. And everybody's there for the same reason. I think even if there are times that you're like, golly, this is a lot of people, it's just like this sweet little camaraderie where everybody's polite, everybody is excited, so it never feels stressful or overwhelming. And then as far as lunch goes, it's super easy too. There are different options. They will have like the same setup for the buffet at lunch. However, like on the Wish, they have this new little area that is so cute. It's kind of like a food court is the best way to describe it, where they have like 5 or 6 little restaurants next to each other, a barbecue, a cantina, a pizza, a burgers and fries, the soft serve ice cream, all kind of right next to each other. And then on the Dream and the Fantasy, there are a couple little places like that, not the variety. However, it's all great and it's all available during the same hours.
Okay. And can you order from like the pool or do you need to get up and go to the...
You get up and go. Okay. Yeah.
And then I had read, I don't know if this is true, but I had read that room service is 24/7 and included. Is that true as well?
It is. It's crazy, but it is. We have utilized it a few times. Like I said, since the kids have gotten older, Brody, our son, spends all of his time at the team club. Like he is all in on the rec and the activities and the games.
You're like, have you eaten and drinking any water today?
I know. Have you had anything? Have you stopped? And so usually when we use the little Disney app, text him, hey, your time's coming to an end. We need you in the room by this time. We will holler at room service. I think they tell you, it'll be there within 20 to 30 minutes. Again, it's Disney. They don't want anybody unhappy. And it is usually to your room within 10 to 15 minutes. They have a great little menu. It's on your app. You call from either your stateroom phone or call from or do your little app. And it is right there. And it is just so convenient. It's not, it's so fun. So we'll grab him, whether it's like spaghetti or something to hork down before he crashes.
Nice. Okay. And we'll finish food in a second, but you mentioned the communicating with him through the app. So I had read a bit about this as well. So I'm assuming there's not the best cell service if you're like out to sea, but they have Wi-Fi. And so if you're connected through the app and you all have the app, you can communicate with each other through the app. Is that right?
Correct. That's correct. Yes. Okay. Yep. In the olden days, like our first cruise, the staterooms had actual landline phones. And so you had to carry that bulky thing around with you everywhere. If kids club needed you or whatever, they would call that phone. Now everything is on the app and it's beautiful. And my favorite part of the app is in the little messaging. They have all these adorable Disney emojis. And so it's like all the cute little themes, all the movies, so you can hit each other up with those. But yeah, the communication is super easy when you are connected to the Wi-Fi on the ship, using the app on the ship, even on Castaway. so smooth and seamless. And then there are options to purchase Wi-Fi. There have been a couple times that we've had to do that. My husband, Paul, has had to do that for work-related purposes or just to, feel a little more connected. There are options for purchasing it. And he never, ever had a problem or a hang up with the convenience or the service of the purchased Wi-Fi.
Awesome. Okay, let's go back to food really quick. So dinner, I had read that, I'm like, I've read, but tell me the truth. I had read that there are multiple restaurants on all the ships and they kind of rotate you through. So you're told, like, whether it's through the app or whatever, where your dinner is that night. Is that the case?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And there's sit-down dinners?
Yeah, they are. So your source is quite reliable. Wherever you're reading, your source is reliable. Thus far, at least. Yeah, you're correct. So you have your itinerary. You will have it ahead of time. They'll give you your dinner reservation, like assignment, so to speak, ahead of time. There are 2 dinner times. One is at 5:45 and one is late, but it's at 8:30. And a lot of people, believe it or not, opt into it. Yet we usually like the early dinner time. So if you're checking in early enough, you can kind of opt into which one you want. And half of the ship will be at dinner. Half of the ship will be at the show. And then, yes, they rotate you through depending on how many nights you're there. There are 3 main restaurants on each of the ships and they rotate you through. So for a 3-night, you get to visit all of them. For a 7-night, you'll just rotate through a second time. And it is so seamless. It's wonderful. And
are they like
so
themed?
Precious.
Are they different types of food?
Yes.
How is the food? Tell me about one of your favorite restaurants.
Oh my gosh. I think it's probably the Wish. They have Arendelle and it's frozen so each of the restaurants do have different themes. They've got different activities, so to speak, that you do, interactions, maybe a better word, during dinner, where they just keep you engaged and they keep the kiddos super excited while they're, just kind of like tapering off. The wait staff is so on point with everything, yet they do have different things to just keep you entertained. And I would say that Arendelle, I like the little walk to it because they know people are lined up as they're waiting to be seated at their assigned tables. And so like the whole hallway is themed. And the second you get in, you're just like, this is pure Disney magic. It's so sweet. But the show at Arendelle, I would call him the MC, is Oaken, the guy that's like, you think someone blow out. He is hysterical. So he just keeps you cracking up through the whole thing. And it is just precious.
Oh my gosh, this already all sounds so fun.
Oh my gosh, it's so much fun.
And so dinner's also, like you said, you've already paid for that. So you're just kind of ordering off a menu. Okay.
Yeah.
And then you said half the ship goes to a show. So I didn't know this. So every evening there's a show. And then I'm assuming you guys, sounds like you guys always go to the show, but do people skip that as well and try to get more time in doing other things? Okay. So you have an option to go to the show or do other things. And every night the show's different?
Yes, every night, every ship, the shows are different. And I'm not exaggerating when I say they are Broadway level shows. They are musicals. They are beautiful. They are so fun. Some are a little more serious. Some are hilarious. Some are more musicals. Some are more acting. It is especially on your first cruise. You must go. You must go see them. They are just absolutely so precious. And your app will give you a quick little rundown of what the shows might be. You can ask any of the crew members, hey, I've got littles. Do you feel like they're, and everybody does. There's a show on the Dream and the Fantasy that's called Villains. Mm-hmm. It's not dark, but if you were going to skip one, you could just check in. However, I highly recommend at least your first trip going to each show. It is so magical. Yeah.
Okay. So fun. Love that.
Yeah. And it's like theater style, like you will sit in little fold down seats and it's kind of stadium seating with the big, so it's very easy. They make it super, super easy to navigate through it.
Okay. Before we talk about the other activities on the ship, I wanted to touch on kids clubs a little bit because I know that the way cruise ships are built, basically all the other cruise ship companies have one level that is all a casino. And that's what is different about Disney is there's no casino and that entire level is kids clubs. So from what you can remember, tell me about like the ages, what the littles do. Like I remember going to a kids club on Royal Caribbean at 11 and I I remember thinking it was really cool, but I'm sure Disney's
Oh,
even better. So what
yep.
ages can you leave them? What types of things are they doing at the different ages? Like, just give us an
Yeah.
overview of Kids Club.
Yes, and I can totally remember because on your first day of every cruise, they do open houses, even if you don't have kids. If you are by yourself, go tour the open houses at the kids club. They are absolutely precious. So you can take littles now with tiny babies, and they will walk you through this in the beginning. We never had teeny tiny babies, however, my sister did, sister-in-law. So you will make little reservations for time slots for those. You can do it before or even once you're on the ship to utilize the nursery. And it's called Neverland on most of them,
Oh,
where the
cute.
little bitty babies
Neverland
stay.
Nursery.
Neverland, is that the sweetest? Yes. And then the kids club, they call them Oceaneers Lab, where they have, it is divided. The center, kind of the hub, is like a rec area where crew members are facilitating games, everything from spike ball to, fun stuff like that. And then there are little sections off of each of them with maybe like an art studio. The Dream and the Fantasy have Andy's room from Toy Story. It's
Cute.
so hilarious and cute. There are some Star Wars ones on the Wish. Each of them has like a small cafeteria and like a little kitchen where they do cooking classes. They do science labs. There is around the clock entertainment from, I think you can drop them off as early as 9 a.m. until 11 p.m. and they keep them entertained. And it's like the goal is to keep them happy and engaged. And so they're not ringing the parents every 5 minutes. Hey, Elle's done. She's ready for you to come get her, type of stuff. They love, love, love it. And it goes all the way up through teen clubs. With teen clubs, there's a little more flexibility. You have options to allow the kiddos to sign themselves in and out. With the littles, they don't. Obviously you have to do that. You'll check them in. They will have, it's the equivalent of a magic band, just like at parks. You will have one when you guys check them in order to check them out, things of that nature. However, with the big kiddos, they have the option to check themselves in and out. Same kind of deal. They've got rec going, they've got gyms, they've got some PlayStations, and then all of the kids clubs, they do character appearances where the characters come down to the clubs and interact with the kids, from karaoke to games. It is so special. And this is so geeky, but one of my favorite things about the Oceaneers Lab is they have these hand washing stations that, like, you literally just put two little holes next to each other. You literally put your hands in the holes. They wash them with warm water, wash them with soap, and then dry them with air. So every time a kiddo comes in, or an adult for that matter, they wash their hands really well. They've got these same stations right outside of the restrooms in the little clubs, and then they wash their hands before they come out, which I love. I'm like, well, that's brilliant.
Yeah.
So yeah, it really, really is catered to every age, just beautifully.
Sounds amazing.
Yes, again, just amazing and super safe. Again, like, my sister-in-law's kiddos, they weren't super hip on the idea of being away. However, they quickly got super excited. If they're there for a mealtime, they feed them down there if you want them to. So they really do feel safe. I always felt like they were safe and fine, even with Brody kind of being off by himself some now that he's older. I never, ever, ever worry about that.
Okay, awesome. Kids clubs sound amazing. Let's talk about other activities on the ship. So we've obviously got the pool. We've got kids clubs.
Yep.
I know that most of them I've seen on the Wish, the massive slide roller coaster situation that I'm like, whoa, that is clear.
Right?
You're over the ocean. So do all of them have like a big ride? And then are there other slides? Are there other activities throughout the day, like little shows? Like, what are the other things you can do as opposed to just sitting by the pool?
Sure. Yes. So from shows, each of the ships have an actual theater. It is super fun if you can, match your trip with maybe like a new release of a movie, because they'll put some things out on the ships before they're in theaters. So there's that option, which is, a sunless option. However, there are the big slides, like you said. On most of them, they're called like the Aqua Duck, DUCK, which is super cute. A big slide. They've got little slides. All the ships have a cute little splash pad that's just kind of enclosed, so the littles can be there. There are putt-putt games on a lot of the tops of the ship. There are gyms. There's a track that runs the full length of the ship outside.
That's how I'm going to get Joe on the ship. There's a track.
I know, right? There's a track.
Great.
No, you can run around the ship. Oh my gosh, what else is there? So there's that. There's some virtual like games and things like that you can make reservations for. So that type of stuff is always there. There's a spa for adults, which is super duper fun. We can touch on at some point, just because there's this experience that Paul and I always do. That's a no-brainer for us. Yet I can tell you on every single one of our trips, there has never, ever been a time that we're like, what should we do? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There are plenty of pools for people of all ages. There are adult only areas there, so that if, your kids are at kids club and you just want a little bit of quiet, there are adult only areas that are so beautifully maintained. So there is always something to do, along with character appearances. Sometimes during the day, that's a fun way to just like get a breather, have some lunch, get in line to get your picture made with characters. You can make reservations to do that type of stuff. They are scattered all over the ships all day long. And then on top of it, they have organized games from bingo, make your own door hangers, all day long, trivia. And it's hard. You go in thinking like, I really know Disney. It is hard. They make it tricky. Yet they've got all sorts of organized things throughout the ship, all hours of the day. So you can be as involved as you want to and just dive full force into every little thing.
Okay, awesome. Before we talk about being at the destinations that you visit, is it hard to get pool chairs? Do you need to get up and go early and kind of save them?
I would say yes and no. It totally depends. If it is an Etsy day, I would say if you've got somebody in your family that's an early riser and you guys definitely want a lounger versus a sit-up chair, or you want to be able to see Funnel Vision, the ginormous TV out in the middle that shows fun movies all day, I would say have somebody go out, throw a quick bag on, maybe, and by early, I mean like 8 o'clock, because they make it as fair as possible. And they're cleaning the decks in the mornings, and chairs aren't even fully set out until probably around 8. Okay. So it's not super hard. On days that you are at port, it is easy peasy any time of day.
Okay. So at port, so you're sailing all night, you port at either Castaway Cay, is that what it's called, or an island?
They pronounce it Key. I know, that was something I had to learn the first time. I'm like, oh, I'm sorry, I'm not Caribbean. I don't know.
Tell us what it's like on a port day. And I did read that some people stay on the ship because you can get access to everything very easily. But like, I feel like our family would always get off because that's the one reason Joe doesn't want to do a cruise, is because he's like, I'd rather just like stay on the island or whatever. But we can talk about that later. But tell us about a day at port. What it's kind of like. Does everyone eat breakfast on the ship and then head out for the day? I'm sure there's, a time you have to be back, and then they even back that up by an hour or something. So kind of tell us about a day at port and what you do, and do they kind of, tell you what direction to go and that kind of thing?
Yes.
Let's actually talk about other places than Castaway Cay first, and then we'll talk about Castaway Cay.
For sure. Yeah, we have done both, and they make it seamless. Your cruise director, she is going to be making announcements in the morning, right before and after breakfast. Everybody does eat breakfast at the same time they're on the ship. And then your cruise director is going to make sure, whether it's at the show the night before or over the intercom throughout the day on your app, that everybody knows what time you are allowed to start getting off the ship and what time everybody has to be back on the ship. And that part is very, very easy. They always, whenever you get off, no matter what port you're at, no matter what excursion you're doing, whether you are just walking around the port and looking at all the big ships and some of the shops that they have, and you're just planning on being off for 30 minutes, they have everything mapped out beautifully. Your excursions, they've got signage, they've got people making sure you know where to be at what time. Typically, even before your excursion, they're going to meet at a certain place on the ship and walk down and off together, even if it's like a larger group or, everybody that's going to this water park. We're going to meet in this lounge at 9:30 a.m. and we're all going to walk down together. So that part, again, you can kind of have in your mind what you think things are going to look like, yet they make sure everybody is where they're supposed to be, when they're supposed to be together and at the same time. So that part's
I'm
really
assuming
easy.
On port days, some of those excursions or like water parks or things that you said is something that you're kind of notified of even before, and you can make reservations for.
That's right.
Before you're even cruising. Yeah.
That's exactly right. No, plenty of time. I believe it's almost 90 days before that you have the option to decide what you want to do, when you want to do it, and all of that. And we have done everything from beach days to swimming with dolphins to we've done like these huge water parks. It's not offered at the one we've done before. However, they have like these water parks that expand over acreage. That's kind of like an all-inclusive type thing. We've done Atlantis and the Bahamas, and everything is so seamless to get to. They have transportation. Now, I will say, these excursions are subbed out. So it's not Disney crew members driving you there. So you are going to be riding with somebody else to your excursion. That part, they can only control so much. However,
the Disney magic fades a little bit for a minute, and you're like, buckle up, kids. We're on the island.
Yes. We've had to ride ferry boats to islands for excursions and things like that. Again, everything is clean and safe and not all operated by Disney. So you just kind of go with that in mind. Yet everything is very, very easy to get to. There is not an excursion that we've done at any port that I would not recommend. And to your point, and again, your source is so reliable. However, I would say it probably is like 70-30 people getting off the ship and people staying on. Now that we kind of have it down to a science, especially on our longer cruises, we stay on the boat definitely one day out of the days that we're not at sea, just because we love having the ship, we say to ourselves, but you know what I mean? It's relative. Yet we love it. We love when it's calm and when it's quiet and when things are just easy to get to. So we have definitely done it both ways, and we love it both ways.
What's your favorite destination? Like, what's your favorite island to get off at?
Oh, I would probably say like BVI, like St. Thomas, things like that. It is just, the water is so remarkable. Paul gets up with the sun so that as we pull in, you can see all the yachts that are scattered about, sailboats, the housing that's just built into the mountains. It is just, we love cruising because you get to see so much in a pretty small amount of time. And it is just so breathtaking. It doesn't look like anything here, even though we live in Tennessee and there are hills and valleys. It's just so completely different. It's beautiful there. Those are my favorite places to do, like the rustic beach excursions. Those are super, super sweet.
Okay. What about Castaway Cay? What's that like? Does it feel like any other, Caribbean island? I know nothing about it.
No, it is all things Disney. So we have this running joke that like going to the Disney parks is a trip, not a vacation. So it's like, it is a Disney vacation. It is the dreamiest, sweetest, most beautifully maintained. Paul swears that we will retire there. However, it is just like, it is so beautiful. We will like jump back 4 or 5 categories when we were talking about rooms. I will tell you that like we like to get rooms on the starboard side on either floor 8 or 9, mostly because it's kind of in the middle. You're not hitting a ton of noise from deck 10, which is like where the main, activities are. But starboard side, when you pull up to Castaway Cay and you open your curtains or your room or step outside and you're looking straight at Castaway, it's just remarkable. They have all kinds of activities there, excursions that you can do out of Castaway. My boys have done fishing excursions. They have, Joe Graves, this is so you. They have a 5K right when you get off. I mean, like at the crack of dawn. And we have done that. People run it, people walk it, people stroll it, it is so much fun. You get the cutest little Disney kind of like silicone, I will call it metal, but silicone, this super cute medallion type thing. It It's so much fun. You can ride bikes there. You can walk. They've got two separate little restaurants. They've got an adults only portion. They have kids clubs on Castaway. I mean, it's crazy. Like they really and truly, they have everything. There's plenty of chairs. They have two really big fun water structures with slides and stuff set out in the water. So it's really fun to slide down and land into the ocean. They have everything roped off. So we've never, ever felt like, okay, is that a huge sea creature or is it not? Type of thing. They have snorkeling, which I highly recommend. That might be going back to the hacks. If you have your own fun little, just a generic mask and snorkel, and you want to pop those in your suitcase, that way you're just not paying $15 or $20 a person to rent those there at Castaway. They will have everybody that snorkels put on one of their little neon yellow life vests, but that part's easy peasy. It's just really fun because they hide things down in the sand, little concrete structures, and you'll see the little Nemo-like fish swimming around. So snorkeling is always a really fun excursion. And for the most part, like snorkeling, bite, tubes, you can sign up like that day. You don't have to, book those months and months in advance. They'll let you just walk up to the hut, swipe your little key to the world card, so to speak, and be off with your snorkel gear.
Okay. Love it. All right. We are running low on time. So I'm going to do a couple rapid fire questions to cover up on the final few things.
Yes.
Do people wear ears and theme their outfits out as much as
heck yes. Oh yeah.
Okay. Love it. What's your ideal Disney cruise length? I know there's so many options, but what do you guys feel like you've had a good time and you're ready to go? 5 nights?
5 nights. Yeah.
Are there any tricks on cost saving when booking, like through a certain credit card company or through Costco or anything?
Definitely. Yeah. A Disney card or a Costco card. We've done it both ways. Costco will give you a little bit of kickback on your membership. Disney card we use because the little reward cards that they send you, you can actually use on the ship at the little gift shops and things of that nature or in parks. So yeah, definitely.
Awesome. Do you guys ever tack on a park day to the beginning or end, and which one, or does it feel like too much?
Yep. We have done both ways. I would definitely say on the beginning, just because the cruise helps you wind down. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, sure. Yeah. So do it in the beginning because, like you said, it's a trip, not a vacation, and then have your vacation afterwards on the ship.
Yes. Truly. Yeah.
What would you say to people who are married to someone that are anti-cruise? How to get them over the hump?
Get them over the hump. I would say whatever you have in your mind, whatever hurdle you think might be an obstacle, just do it because it probably doesn't exist. Any of the things that I thought were going to be an issue were never, ever, ever an issue for us. Not once, especially with Disney.
Do you guys already have your next Disney cruise booked?
Yes. Yes, we do. We're going at the end of June and we're actually going over the 4th of July. So maybe we'll do part 2 of the cruise and talk about Pirate Night for every single cruise and things like that. That it's so much fun, but we're actually going to be there over the 4th of July and we're so excited. But every cruise does fireworks on Pirate Night. So that's
every cruise does fireworks on Pirate Night. So there's a Pirate Night. Okay, fun.
There is on every single cruise. They do a super fun show on the main deck and that has all the characters involved. Even if you don't take any pirate gear, it's totally okay. They'll give you a couple things that you can gear up with. There is if you've got littles, each one of the ships has the Bippity Boppity Boutique, so you can take your kiddos to do that type of fun stuff too. Yet, every single cruise, every single time has a pirate night that ends in fireworks, and it's
so fun. Okay, 2 other quick things. You mentioned you have tricks for motion sickness. My middle Parker does get motion sickness. So, what are your favorite tips? Yeah,
so they sure think a lot of them, but it's called a relief band. My husband used to fly planes for fun. And all pilots use it. It is a little relief band. It attaches here. It's like a little electromagnetic currency. However, it is worth every penny. It has saved me so many times. And they have Dramamine on the ships. It just tends to make me drowsy. So the little relief bands that you can buy over the counter, those definitely help too.
Okay. That's another thing that we're going to link in the show notes. And then you said the spa is great and there's a service you guys love. So tell us about that.
It's called the Rainforest and it's kind of like a membership. So as soon as you get on the ship, head straight to the spa, make your reservation for the Rainforest. It's a certain cost per person and it fluctuates a little bit, but they have this special area that comes with like body scrubs, lotions, sauna, robe, all different kinds of showers, steam room, loungers. That's just part of like this membership only. You can go all day, every day if you want to. And our favorite part about it is even though the staterooms have a great bathroom, it's a much more roomy space to get ready at night. So Paul and I will tag team and one of us will shower and all of that in their big, nice bathrooms, get ready for bed, and then tag team, and the other one will go right before bed. So it's a really fun perk, even if you don't do massages or facials, to still get that spa experience and some adult time.
That is such a good hack. So you can pay for the rainforest membership for your entire cruise, and then you can go whenever you want.
Anytime you want.
Regardless
and you
of
can
if
go
you book
5
a
times
service.
a day. That's exactly right. Yes.
Love that hack.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
So we're going to link all the things she talked about in the show notes. But to wrap up, if someone out there is listening and is thinking about this trip, what is it about a Disney cruise that would make you say, just book it?
Oh my gosh. It's just, they take care of all of it for you. There's literally no guesswork. Everything from key to the world card, magic band, to safety, to cleanliness, to it is a no-brainer vacation. All things included. Like even when you go to an all-inclusive resort, there are still things that you still got to prepare for and take care of yourself. This one, from start to finish, they have it down to a science. It is a no-brainer vacation.
Okay. Well, you have been a wealth of knowledge, and I feel like we're going to have to book another one to dive into even more stuff.
Oh my gosh.
You are amazing. Thank you so much for sharing everything you know about Disney cruises with us.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I loved it.
All right. Talk to you later.
Okay. Bye.
That wraps up another episode of Trip Tales. If you have a trip you'd like to share about on the podcast, email me at triptalespodcast@gmail.com and I'll add you to the schedule. Also, be sure to follow the show so that you don't miss any upcoming vacation destinations. And if you have an extra minute in your day, please leave a review for the podcast. It helps more than you could imagine. Thank you so much, and I'll see you on the next episode of Trip Tales. Hey guys, I wanted to quickly share about a cool way you can support the show. Travel content creating and podcasting is so fun. But as you travel lovers know, traveling can get expensive. While I may receive trades from time to time, the flights, the behind the scenes hours filming, editing, recording, and sharing are often unseen and unpaid. There is this super cool website called buymeacoffee.com that was created specifically as a way to support creators like me. Buy Me a Coffee is a quick and simple way to show your support for the Trip Tales podcast. And Lord knows this busy Mama 3 could use a coffee to keep me recording and sharing, and maybe help with the grocery bill as well. I'll also give a special shout out by name to anyone who buys me a coffee in the following week's episode. So if you love Trip Tales, I'll put the link in the show notes, or you can get there by visiting buymeacoffee.com/Kelsey Graves. Thank you for considering supporting the show.